New York City has always been like an incredible place when it comes down to like that type of thing. Well, when I can't move to New York City, there was all these cool little shops and people would express themselves through like retail environments like A Life or like any of them. There's so many bookstores and there was there was cool graffiti shops and they influenced me. Like you would go and I don't know, just look at cool shit and like even like a Tower Records or something like that, or Mondo Kim's is a cool example on St. Mark's. Like you would go and there's 3 floors of just fire shit, just cool shit, like records and books and zines and graph zines and like I just felt like it was important to contribute to that thing. And then at the time there still isn't really many pure graffiti shops that were really like supportive of just like straight graffiti and bad kids. And it just felt like fun, and it was a lot of fun, tons of fun, but it was definitely a lot of work and pretty fucking heavy. But yeah, I don't remember that, but I was always down. I was like, I want this to be a place where a kid could bring a zine and say, oh, hey, can I sell this here? And then they can say, hey, you should check out my zine. It's over here. And then other kids would come and look at that type of shit and get inspired. Or
I remember Caleb was working there.
Yep, Caleb was working there. Zach's worked there for a long time. One of my friends from Haiti that fucking came all the way through South America was working there for a while.
Such a cool shop, and the dollars that you had everybody hit up. Wasn't that in an exhibit at one point?
Oh, I don't know.
I know Curve had his stuff there too.
Yeah, we did a lot of it. We did a lot of shows, a lot of good shows. Fuzz, Curve, Zach's, a lot. Gory. It was just like giving back in a way, selling paint, having fun, promoting just like that element of like of real graffiti and art and trying to have fun, but it's not like a lucrative style of business, like
mm-hmm.
and eventually it had to close, but it was a lot of fun. And the main thing that I don't even really have them, but we made these like books, these Paradise Plus like quarterly magazines that I thought were really, really good. I'm not sure if you guys ever saw that.
I saw the Paradise Plus quarterly video. It was on Juxtapause.
Okay. Yeah,
and there was just like Pear and all of them painting in a different country. It was a really well put together video.
Yep, a lot of fun. Yeah, that kind of like was a supplemental thing to this magazine. But yeah, it was just like everyone that was involved in that project, like the people that would come often and the people that would paint kind of like through the shop and put products, they all fucking love graffiti. Like they all contribute so much to graffiti. And I don't really like to say graffiti culture, but just New York and the graffiti scene here, or like whatever you want to call that shit. We did book signings. There were, like just all this shit that is important to somebody that actually cares about this New York and the streets and like graffiti. We wanted there to be like this place where that could be like just like a center for that, a place where you could come and do that.
It definitely was. And, I think that's one of the cooler shops that has been out recently. It sucks that it's not around anymore, but that's a bummer. I really like you used to, like on the Instagram account, Paradise Plus walls or the morning commute, you'd post like stuff you'd see or stickers like that.
Honestly, it was kind of a labor of love and it became a bit overbearing. When you're kind of like, the thing's barely making the rent because, like you're out of fucking flat black and you got to it's just like a pain in the ass,
mm-hmm.
And like anybody that does that shop, everyone should go fucking, even if you're a booster, you should go buy some paint at the paint shop because they're doing that because they fucking love graffiti and they're supporting the graffiti scene. So like any of these lowbrows or scrap yards, go fucking spend $50 there for every like $1,000 of paint that you boost, go spend fucking $200 at these paint shops because if they're gone, what are you what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think
now that this one's gone, people are like, oh fuck, that shit was dope. So yeah,
we've talked to Jess. He came on the show also, and like hearing him talk about the back in the days of A Life, like you said, all these people going through this shop were real writers, real skateboarders, real like it was just like raw New York, and like I think like a kid like me growing up seeing that they're not faking the funk. This is like the real deal shit. I want to hang out. I want to know about this. I'll like support it with my money or whatever because I know that it's not just some like some businessman that doesn't truly know about this and he's just trying to make money off the culture.
Yeah.
These are real people, like you said, like they're barely making the rent. They're doing this out of love. So
yeah, and I think that people just kind of like now people are starting to realize like with nothing around, Blade's board and skate fucking closed. Like there's gonna be very little shit around. Like now people are like, okay, I gotta go over there and fucking try to support. But like I don't, for a long time, people took the shit for granted. Oh, it's New York City. There's going to be popping shops. There's going to be a new one will come up. But the sheer fact of the matter is, like, they're not.
It's dying,
yeah.
Not if people don't, step up and do stuff like that. And it's not that easy, like you said.
Yeah, it's not. But, I mean...
from the outside perspective, it looks like, oh, Paradise Plus, it's all a game. They just made the shop. Woo!
Yeah.
They have a little art show here, art show there. Woo! No. But realistically, you got to bust your ass to make stuff like that happen.
Yep, and you got to really care. So, like, every time, yeah. Oh, yeah, all I'm saying is if there's a shop and you fucking want to go check it out. Spend some money, shoot the shit. They're there for you. Like, it's not like an exclusive thing where you're not, like, go buy your fucking paint there, go buy a zine there, go buy somebody's book there. I don't even know where you could do that, or start one yourself. Mm-hmm. Fucking, if you felt the love, show.
I would love to do that one day. Start some of my own kind of stuff.
It's almost as if the city doesn't even want you to do that because the rent is so ridiculously high. They only want businesses that are like mainstream almost nowadays to have
feels like
a spot,
Yeah, feels like it. But I wonder now with
all this,
I think maybe space is becoming maybe a little bit more available,
accessible.
It seems like it. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess I couldn't say I recommend anybody open a graffiti shop. It's definitely fucking kind of a nightmare. But
did any like VS or anyone ever pull up?
Oh, I think a couple times, but I don't know. One time they came in at the first shop and we were watching The Last Dragon, the Bruce Leroy movie, and then they were kind of just hanging out watching The Last Dragon too, and they're like, "Oh shit, Last Dragon," and we were trying to watching Bruce Leroy for they like made up some lie. Hey, someone around the corner got robbed, and I think they were just checking it out, and then we were just all watching Last Dragon for a minute. I thought that was kind of a tender moment. But nothing really ever happened. I was always waiting. It was a lot of stress. I was always waiting for like
break down the door,
or just be like, "All right, guys, like the gig is up. You guys don't have like what the fuck are you guys thinking?"
Yeah,
but it never really happened. I mean, a lot of other tragedy shit kind of came, and it was definitely like heavy duty. It wasn't like the sweetest of endings to that chapter, but I'm glad it occurred.
Mm-hmm. How'd you come up with that name?
Paradise Plus. I mean, that's what it was. I was like, dude, for a kid, like, if I'm thinking about like a kid that comes to New York City and you got like all these shops, right? Like, there was a shop that Bobito had called Footwork, and there was like all this great like ravey shops called Liquid Sky, and even Supreme at the time was like very much one of those things where it was just like somebody's shop, and when you entered in, it was like their world and their expression. And it felt like paradise. And for me, like, okay, this is paradise, and like Paradise Plus would be paradise plus like graffiti plus like like mops, or like it just felt like something that made sense to like a kid, like paradise plus all this bad kid shit, and then you'd be in like heaven, like in Pinocchio when they go to that bad kid island and they're all like smoking cigars and shit, and they all get turned into donkeys. Or like in the first Ninja Turtles when they go to like the bad kid's lair and they're all skateboarding, and he's like, "What kind of cigs you want?" And he's like, "Regular or menthol?" Just like shit like that. I was like, this is like heaven. New York is heaven to me. I fucking love New York so much. Even now. Like, even the way it is now, which is like the weirdest, most bizarre sci-fi version of New York, I still fucking love it. I love walking around. I love being here.
It's funny with this whole pandemic that went on. Before that, I would think that the city's getting gentrified at an accelerating rate, you know what I mean? And then this hit, and now there's graffiti all over the place. Like around my neighborhood, gates that I've never seen graffiti on, they're like, there's no space.
Especially the LES.
Smashed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's smashed. It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks like kind of like modern 80s version of New York. But, I mean, some people could debate whether it looks good or not. But I like the vibe of it overall. Like,